I know I said I wasn't going to do summer league content, and I'm not. This is only kind of summer league content. But when I saw this play from Brandon Boston, I just knew that I had to make a video on this play, which we'll get into why this play, specifically this one, is so insanely wild and impressive considering BJ Boston's development track and what he was as a prospect in high school and college and the way he's going. But in high school, like high recruit, myself and many others were like very high on BJ Boston as a potential top 3, top 5 pick in his draft. In obviously a very loaded, what would end up being a very loaded draft. The space creation and like the handle was very special for a guy of his size, where he was able to use his shift and his handle to create pretty difficult shots and convert them at a pretty solid clip in high school. Like, this is just wildly impressive shot making for like a 6'7" lanky guy. Hi, Evan Mobley. How's it going? And was also able to use his handle to get downhill against high school defenders. Again, it's Jalen Green right there, where a quick little between the legs cross draws a foul. But even in these plays, you can kind of see his physical limitations, where he was just so lacking in strength and burst, but because of how overwhelming his craft and his shake was at this size, he was able to win. And we even did see in high school where against especially high-profile bigs like Chet, he just kind of wasn't really able to finish and draw contact and create advantageous plays, where Boston was always like a super physical driver, where he was not afraid to kind of go into bigger, stronger guys and try to draw fouls and finish, but oftentimes it just wouldn't work because he was so skinny and kind of limited explosively. But like, there was so much optimism for BJ just because of how special this space creation was, and how much good stuff he was able to do on the ball with his handle, with his passing, even with some like off-ball defense stuff. But obviously his year at Kentucky did not go to plan, where BJ just kind of wasn't able to convert that level of space creation. And it's just very evident that he was still able to string together like impressive handles for his size like this, where he's able to change directions. But college defenders are just so much stronger and more athletic and quicker. And without requisite burst or strength, Boston struggled so much to create advantages on the ball. Like, though he was still physical and still crafty, he just wasn't able to create space against basically anyone in college. And even on plays where he was able to, get downhill a little bit and work into the paint, just like the lack of strength and explosion was so apparent, especially when he was trying to finish. Plays like these where in high school he was able to draw a foul or like go around a worse defender, he was just kind of clanking layups a lot. The craft and like the scoop layups were awesome, but without strength, explosion, burst, he really just wasn't able to convert any of these at a high clip. And like, this was the big question for BJ, which I think some people like rightfully were skeptical of, like coming out of college, and became blindingly apparent in his Kentucky season, is can he do anything with the space creation tools? Is even when he's able to get separation like this, where he makes a nice crossover on Jaden Springer and is able to get separation, is he going to be able to convert that into points, or are NBA defenders just going to absolutely smother him on pretty easy recoveries because BJ just doesn't have the burst, the first step, the explosion, the strength to hold and contest? And because of like that those kind of purported questions, I like became very low on Boston. My thinking was just that, like, as someone who would need to be an on-ball guy with his handling strengths, there was just so much room for him to have to grow. Like, there was so much that had to happen for him to really work, and because of that, I became pretty skeptical. But it seems like there have been some developments over the last season in Summer League, which I wasn't aware of until recently. This was, I think, like his best game from the regular season, where he was doing stuff like this, where he used his strength to finish and move Marcus Smart, one of the strongest players in the league. Like, look at that. Obviously, Smart's kind of backpedaling here, but uses the off arm, strong hop step, jumps through contact, and finishes through contact. Like, what on earth is this? Like compare that to a play like, I don't know, like any of these plays. Like it's so stark going from a play like this against like again like a good defender. Like Jaden Springer is an amazing on ball defender. Going from a play like that where he is just totally overwhelmed athletically, in about 1 year, being able to do this against the defensive player of the year. And obviously, these flashes were pretty sparing, and I would say Boston probably didn't have the best rookie year, but man, is this an impressive development point. And then we go back to like the first play that sparked the idea for this video, where he is just moving defenders. Like, this is wildly impressive considering where Boston's starting point was, able to like use this crossover, where in the past, as we've kind of seen in the plays, BJ would make a nice move and just get stuck here. He would not be able to move this defender. He would throw up a bad shot, but now he's able to lower his shoulder. His flexibility looks improved as well, and go through defenders. Even though he doesn't like make the initial one, the strength creation is so impressive, and makes me so happy to see him thriving and really improving on a critical piece. And now it's like you're seeing Boston win with his handle. The burst still isn't crazy, as you can see, but like his ability to just string together handling moves in like a tight and compact fashion is a lot for bigger defenders to handle. Like, if Boston is stronger, you can't throw little guards on him. That was always the thing. Like, if you could just throw like a 6'3" guard, like a 6'4", 6'5" guy on Boston, and he can't power through, like that limits his effectiveness a lot. But when he has the strength to actually beat those guys and can use his size and speed to beat the bigger defenders, whoo boy, we're getting something good. Like, this is just very, very impressive stuff. And like, again, like I still think there's a long way for Boston to go, and he's probably gonna have like a lot more G League time just because of how stacked the Clippers are. But this is a very cool development, and one that I'm very excited about. Not necessarily trying to like overreact like crazy, but the functional strength development seems to be very real. And obviously at this point it's only flashes and spurts, but I definitely am buying back some BJ Boston stock, and I'm very excited to see how he plays in the G League this next season, or if he gets time with the Clippers, and where he goes from here, because he is one of my favorite high school prospects of all time, and this is just very cool.